Grace had always taken pride in her home. It was filled with memories, carefully chosen decor, and little touches that made it uniquely hers. But one afternoon, as she nearly tripped over the same bulky coffee table she had owned for 30 years, she had a sudden realization was her beloved home working against her. She started looking closer and noticing things she had overlooked for years: outdated lighting, awkward furniture placement, and even small safety risks. Turns out, many senior women unknowingly hold on to outdated home habits that make life harder, not easier. So today we're diving into 12 common home mistakes that could be holding you back, and the simple practical fixes that will make your space feel fresh, safe, and effortlessly functional. And the first one? Let's just say, it's time to rethink the clutter. 1. Heavy, bulky furniture that's hard to move. When Margaret first bought her furniture, she didn't give much thought to its weight. Solid wood meant quality and durability. But now, shifting a chair or adjusting a table required more effort than she cared to admit. And when her daughter Sarah visited, she noticed the concern in her eyes as Margaret struggled to push a stool closer. "You shouldn't have to wrestle with your furniture, Mom," Sarah said, giving the ottoman a futile shove. That stuck with her. How many times had she ignored the strain of pulling out a chair or scooting a side table into place? The fix modern solutions don't mean sacrificing elegance. Lightweight, ergonomic furniture can be just as beautiful as its heavier counterparts. Look for pieces with sturdy yet manageable materials: aluminum, engineered wood, or even well-designed plastic composites. Consider furniture with built-in wheels or easy glide technology, making rearranging effortless. For sentimental pieces, adding felt pads under the legs or investing in furniture sliders can make a world of difference. Margaret found that out when she placed gliders under her cherished antique dresser. Suddenly, it moved smoothly without scraping the floor. A home should move with you, not against you. Lighter, easier to adjust furniture means less strain, more independence, and a space that adapts to your needs, not the other way around. Margaret breathed easier when she realized she didn't have to get rid of everything, just make it work better for her. But as she admired her newly mobile furniture, another issue caught her attention. 2. Dim lighting that increases fall risks. Margaret always loved a warm, cozy glow in the evenings. Soft lamps, gentle shadows. It made the home feel intimate. But one night, as she reached for her glass of water, her foot caught on the edge of the rug. She stumbled, catching herself on the armrest just in time. It was a small scare, but it lingered. What if she hadn't caught herself? Later that week, she tested her home's lighting. As evening fell, she stood in the center of her living room and tried to read the newspaper without turning on the overhead light. The print blurred, shadows stretched across the floor, pooling in corners. No wonder she'd misjudged that step. A well-lit home isn't just about brightness, it's about placement and accessibility. Margaret swapped out her old bulbs for LED lights with a warmer tone, brighter but still inviting. Motion-activated nightlights went in the hallway and bathroom, guiding her path effortlessly. For task lighting, she added under-cabinet LED strips in the kitchen and a touch-sensitive lamp near her reading chair. Suddenly, clarity returned. Good lighting isn't just about safety, it's about confidence. Seeing means moving freely. A well-lit home fosters independence, preventing unnecessary falls and reducing strain on aging eyes. Margaret was amazed at how a few adjustments transformed her space. But as she admired the newfound brightness, her gaze drifted to the floor, to something she had overlooked for far too long. 3. Old carpets and rugs that cause tripping hazards. The living room rug was a gift from her late husband James. They had picked it out together on their anniversary trip to Italy. Rich burgundy patterns, soft underfoot, a reminder of love and adventure. But over the years the edges curled, the fabric thinned in spots. And that morning, when Margaret nearly tripped over a lifted corner, she realized something painful. The rug was becoming more of a hazard than a treasure. She didn't want to get rid of it. It was part of her home story. Instead of discarding it, Margaret found a compromise. She secured the edges with non-slip tape and added a rubber backing to keep it firmly in place. In higher traffic areas, she replaced worn rugs with low-pile non-slip alternatives. For the hallway, she switched to runner rugs with grip pads underneath, still soft, still beautiful, but far safer. A home's beauty should support you, not endanger you. Small changes, securing rugs, and choosing safer textures, mean keeping cherished memories while ensuring peace of mind. As Margaret stepped across her living room with newfound ease, she smiled. This wasn't about saying goodbye to the past, it was about making her homework for the future. 4. High cabinets and storage. That's hard to reach. Margaret had never thought of her kitchen cabinets as inconvenient. They had been designed decades ago when stretching, bending, and climbing a step stool were second nature, but now, they were an everyday frustration. She thought about the times she had stacked things precariously on the counter rather than reaching into a high shelf. The moments she had asked her daughter to get something for her, feeling a twinge of embarrassment. "Mom, why not just move things lower?" Sarah had asked during her last visit, a gentle smile on her face. Margaret hesitated. Wouldn't that mean rearranging everything? The fix. She started small. The daily essentials, plates, bowls, mugs, all found a new home in the lower cabinets. A pull-out organizer made it easier to grab pots and pans without bending too much. And for the higher shelves, she invested in pull-down racks that glided effortlessly, eliminating the need for a step stool. She didn't have to struggle, and she didn't have to give up her beloved kitchen setup. She simply made it work for her. Making storage accessible isn't just about convenience, it's about maintaining independence. It's about keeping the joy of cooking, baking, and hosting without frustration. With her kitchen now working for her, Margaret felt a sense of relief. But as she reached for the kettle to make tea, she noticed another problem, one she had long ignored. 5. Outdated, clunky kitchen appliances. The toaster was a relic from the 80s. The microwave had a dial instead of a digital screen. And don't even get her started on the can opener. It took 3 tries and an aching wrist just to get it working. For years, Margaret had prided herself on making do with what she had. They still work, she had told herself, time and time again. But did they? If she was being honest, she avoided using the can opener unless necessary. The microwave cooked unevenly, sometimes leaving cold spots in her soup. And the toaster, it burned one side of the bread while leaving the other untouched. Margaret took a deep breath and did something she hadn't done in years. She upgraded a touch-screen microwave with preset cooking options, a one-touch electric can opener that worked in seconds, a sleek, modern toaster that browned bread evenly. The best part? Every new appliance was designed to be senior-friendly, simple, intuitive, and easy on the hands. Modern appliances aren't about luxury, they're about ease. They take the frustration out of daily tasks, giving back time, energy, and comfort. Margaret smiled as she watched her new toaster deliver a perfectly golden toast. It was a small thing, but small things mattered. And then, as she carried her breakfast into the dining area, she glanced toward the hallway, toward the one place she had been avoiding. 6. Traditional bathtubs without safety features. Margaret loved her bathtub. It was deep, classic, and had been her sanctuary for decades. A hot bath after a long day had always been her ritual, until recently. Now getting in and out of the tub felt like an exercise in balance and hope. She gripped the sides, carefully lowering herself, always aware of the slight slip beneath her feet, and standing up. It required slow, deliberate movements, her heart pounding just a little faster than before. One evening, as she stepped out, she felt her foot slide, just slightly, just enough to make her stomach drop. She caught herself, but the message was clear. She couldn't keep ignoring this. Margaret explored options. The idea of losing her bathtub saddened her, but she didn't have to. She added a sturdy, well-placed grab bar, a non-slip bath mat, a shower seat for days when standing felt like too much, and for the ultimate peace of mind, she invested in a walk-in tub, one that let her step in safely, without climbing over a high edge. The first time she used it, she nearly cried. It was comfortable, it was safe, and for the first time in a while, she could fully relax. A safe bathroom isn't about giving up independence, it's about preserving it. It's about feeling secure in your own home, knowing that one wrong step won't lead to injury or worse. As Margaret wrapped herself in a towel, she felt something unexpected, relief, because for the first time in years, her home was finally starting to work for her, and she wasn't done yet. 7. Too many knickknacks and cluttered spaces. Margaret had always loved her collections. Each trinket told a story, a memory wrapped in ceramic or glass. But as she gazed around the room, she realized something: her treasures had started to overwhelm the space instead of enhancing it. There was barely a clear surface. Cleaning had become a chore, not because she didn't want to, but because there was just too much to work around. And then there was the dust. No matter how often she wiped things down, the layers crept back. The worst part, the clutter made her anxious. She didn't even realize it until she started imagining what the room would look like with a little more space to breathe. Margaret didn't have to get rid of everything, but she needed a new way to honor her favorite pieces. She picked her most cherished keepsakes and placed them in a well-lit display case, where they could be admired without taking over every surface. For sentimental items she didn't have room for, she started a memory box, a beautiful chest where she could safely store mementos without cluttering the room. As for the rest, she donated some, gifted others to family, and found that the act of letting go felt freeing, not sad. A decluttered space means a decluttered mind. It invites calmness, clarity, and a sense of peace. A home that feels open, fresh, and truly yours. Margaret exhaled deeply. The room felt different, lighter, and for the first time in years, she could appreciate her favorite things without feeling crowded by them. But as she walked past her dining room, she realized another space in her home had been frozen in time. 8. Formal dining rooms that go unused.
The dining table was beautiful, sturdy oak, polished to perfection, surrounded by high-backed chairs that hadn't been touched in months, maybe years. Margaret paused in the doorway. Why did she keep this space exactly as it was? The truth? It reminded her of the past. The holiday dinners with family, the lively conversations, the warmth that filled the room. But now, it just sat there, a silent monument to what used to be. It made her a little sad, and honestly, a little guilty, as if changing the space meant letting go of all those memories. Margaret took a deep breath and reimagined the room. She didn't need a formal dining space anymore, but she did need a cozy nook where she could enjoy tea, read a book, or even entertain a friend in a more relaxed setting. She swapped the large table for a smaller, intimate one, with just 2 comfortable chairs. A cozy reading corner replaced the far end of the room, with a soft armchair and a standing lamp. The dining hutch stayed, but she used it differently, storing photo albums, journals, and a few treasured serving pieces, rather than the fine china that never saw the light of day. The result? A space that welcomed her into the present, instead of keeping her locked in the past. A home should evolve with you. Spaces should be lived in, not left untouched out of nostalgia. By adapting her dining room, Margaret created a space that suited her life now, while still honoring the memories of before. And as she sat in her new reading chair, flipping through an old book, she realized something else. She had been sitting wrong for years.
9. Old stiff chairs and sofas that lack support. Margaret had never really thought about how she sat until her back and hips started reminding her. Her couch was still the same one she and her late husband had picked out 30 years ago. The cushions sagged, the armrests were too low, and the lumbar support non-existent. She often had to adjust, shift, and prop up pillows just to get comfortable. And when she stood up, it took a second for her back to straighten, her joints protesting the effort. It wasn't just the couch. The dining chairs were too stiff, the recliner was too deep. She never noticed how much she had been working against her furniture, rather than having it support her. Margaret took a moment to listen to her body. She tested different types of seating, ergonomic chairs with proper back support, a recliner with lumbar cushioning, and a new sofa with firmer yet comfortable cushions that made standing up effortless. The difference was immediate. No more shuffling pillows, no more adjusting every few minutes, just comfort that worked for her body. The emotional benefit: good furniture should support you, not fight you. A well-designed chair or sofa reduces strain, improves posture, and makes everyday relaxation so much more enjoyable. Margaret didn't realize how much her old seating had been holding her back, literally. And as she leaned back into her new supportive recliner, she felt what she hadn't felt in years: true effortless comfort. Her home was finally becoming a place that embraced her, rather than making her adjust to it, and that feeling, it was priceless. Tim, ignoring smart home technology that could help Margaret, wasn't a tech person. She had a flip phone until Sarah convinced her to switch to a smartphone, and even that took months to get used to. So when her daughter suggested adding smart security to her home, Margaret scoffed. "I've lived here for 40 years without any trouble," she said. Sarah didn't push. Instead, she told her about a neighbor, Helen, who recently installed a video doorbell. Helen had nearly fallen for a scammer, pretending to be from the utility company. But because she could see and talk to the man through the doorbell camera, without opening the door, she realized something was off and sent him away. That story stuck with Margaret. She started small: a smart doorbell, with a camera, let her see who was at the door from the safety of her chair. Then, a smart lock that let her daughter check the door's status remotely. Finally, motion sensor lights for the front and backyard, bright enough to deter anyone lurking in the dark. She didn't need to be a tech whiz. She just needed peace of mind. Smart home technology isn't about replacing your instincts, it's about enhancing them. It allows you to feel secure, independent, and in control of your home, without making it feel like a fortress. Margaret no longer hesitated when she heard the doorbell ring. She could see who was there before deciding to answer, and that alone was priceless. But as she admired her safer front door, her gaze shifted inside, to something else that had been weighing her down. 11. Old window treatments that darken the home. Margaret had always loved the heavy drapes she installed years ago. They were elegant and regal, reminding her of grand hotel rooms and cozy winter nights by the fire. But lately, they made her home feel like a cave. She hadn't even realized how much natural light she had been blocking until she visited her friend Diane's house. Diane had sheer curtains, allowing soft, golden light to flood the space. The room felt alive. Margaret returned home and looked at her own dim living room. The drapes were dusty, heavy, suffocating. She had grown so used to them that she hadn't noticed how they closed her off from the outside world. She swapped the thick, dark drapes for light-filtering curtains, still providing privacy, but allowing natural light to breathe life into the room. For the bedroom, she installed motorized blinds that could be adjusted with the push of a button. No more struggling with cords or climbing over furniture to reach them. And just like that, her home transformed. Light is energy. A brighter home feels happier, fresher, and more inviting. By making simple window updates, Margaret created a space that lifted her mood rather than weighed it down. As she sat by her window, enjoying the warm afternoon glow, she wondered, why had she waited so long? And then she looked around at her decor, and she knew. 12. Keeping the same decor for decades without refreshing. Margaret's home told a story. Every piece of decor, every framed photo, and every color on the walls reflected who she was years ago. But what about now? She realized that while she had grown, her home had stayed exactly the same. The floral wallpaper she picked in the 80s, still there. The same throw pillows she bought when her grandkids were little, still there. The bookshelf overflowing with knickknacks, still there. It wasn't about trends or keeping up with modern styles. It was about making sure her home reflected the woman she was today, not just the past version of herself. Margaret didn't do a full makeover. Instead, she refreshed. She painted her walls a soft, neutral color, making the space feel open and modern. She swapped old pillows for new ones, adding fresh pops of color. She decluttered her bookshelves, keeping only the ones that truly meant something. The result? A home that still felt like hers, just lighter, fresher, more in tune with who she was today. Updating Décor isn't about erasing the past, it's about embracing the present. A refreshed home brings new energy, new joy, and a space that inspires you daily. Margaret stood in the middle of her living room, taking it all in. For the first time in years, her home didn't just house memories, it supported the life she was living now, and that was the best change of all. Alright, my friend, if Margaret can do it, so can you. Imagine walking through your home without dodging tripping hazards, wrestling furniture, or squinting at dim lighting like you're solving a mystery. Feels good, right? Now tell me, which of these fixes are you tackling first? Drop a comment below, and let's swap stories. Your home should work for you, not the other way around.